watching the brand new coming-of-age comedy called Bottoms. This is from director Emma Seligman, who did a film a couple of years ago called Shiva Baby. You can probably see it right behind me. I love that movie. It was one of my favorites, so this instantly had to become one of my favorites to see this fall season coming up. And well, Bottoms is about everything that I expected it to be, and even a little bit more, because the film was about two unpopular queer high school students who start a fight club to have sex before graduation. Once again, directed and written by Emma Seligman, and starring the likes of Rachel Sennott, Edebiri, Ruby Cruz, and so many more. Now, just that initial idea of two girls starting a fight club to impress a crush is something that I think many of us can relate to in some sort of way. Not saying that we've all started our own fight club, but we've all done something specifically back in school, if you were in high school, junior high, whatever it is, to impress your crush. You wanted to do that. And I think instantly that's one thing that can grab you right away and bring you into this film, into a relatability, specifically if you are someone who felt like an outsider when going to school or doing anything of that, or maybe were a part of people bullying you. There's a certain thing to that makes it feel very relatable. And while watching this movie, one of the things that truly impressed me was again Emma Seligman's direction and writing, because this film itself is heavily over-exaggerated. But a lot of the times when we go and see coming-of-age stories now, they are not like that. But what was? Back in the 80s and 90s, we saw countless films that were overly exaggerated versions of how high school was taught and done. And for me, getting to see a film like this nowadays, where it does feel like a throwback to 80s, 90s coming-of-age high school comedies, that does feel to something of that degree. Even though this film does have that overly exaggerated tone, it's insane. And it takes a lot of heavy inspirations from things like Heather's, Fight Club, of course, but all put into the version of high school. All self-contained to that itself. And it's one of the most enjoyable things that I've seen this year, because every moment I at least either had a smile on my face or was laughing my ass off. But the other thing that honestly also surprised me is, because going into this, I knew I was going to be at least getting a comedy, but what Shiva Baby did so well was that was not a comedy. That was a straight-up, stress-filled, anxiety-induced movie that just made you feel on edge the entire way through, the same way that Uncut Gems did. But what this film actually does is it surprisingly has a deeper theme to it all. A thematic of feminism and the themes and dramas of what females are going through. And there's one point in particular where, they start this fight club, but they actually take time to not just keep punching each other in the face. They actually sit back to have a discussion about something that each and every one of them have gone through. And that moment in particular, while it does end on a funny point, hearing each and every one of the girls in this fight club, what they have gone through, truly much felt real for the overall arching nature of this. And I think it adds into the more tone of why these females would join a fight club like this. And for me, I thought that was actually one of the most passionate parts about the film. But what else is also passionate about this is, of course, the acting in here. Because Rachel Sennott and Edebiri, who I might be mispronouncing their names, I do highly. If you haven't watched my videos before, I'm really bad at pronouncing names, but I'm a major fan of both of them. Ayo's just having a year with Theater Camp, The Bear Season 2. This, of course, she was also in Mutant Mayhem. She was great as April, but she's phenomenal in this. I think Rachel and her have, just a dynamic duo, and it's probably one of my favorite dynamic duos of 2023. Their chemistry, their friendship, it just feels so real, and you definitely have one of those friends that you can relate to right away. Alongside that, I also thought that Ruby Cruz, who plays Hazel in here, was also a very important part. Havana Rose Liu, also great, and Nicholas Gattelstein as Jeff was... we all know a Jeff from high school, let's be honest. Shout out to Marshawn Lynch in here. He has a very surprisingly funny bits to this film as well that really stick out, and I thought they were some of the funniest moments. Time of thinking about this film, the one thing that I always keep centering back to is the over-exaggerated nature of this. That is the one piece that you're either for or you're not. When it's introduced pretty early on, I would say within the first 10 minutes or so, I felt it was a little bit too cartoonish, and I didn't know how to really take that. But as the film starts to swing and keep trying to swing for the fences with that tone, it's either going to latch you on or it's not. I can see many people not getting on board with it. For me, within 15 minutes of it, I was sold into the tone of this film, this cartoony nature of it all, and it worked. But it does get very exaggerated, specifically even towards the third act. The third act is just bonkers wild, but I loved it, and I just couldn't stop laughing, smiling, and being entertained by all of that. Oddly enough, honestly, I do think that down in the future, while this is very much an indie film, this is going to be one of those coming-of-age cult classics that ends up going about where people are going to be like, have you ever seen Bottoms? You absolutely should, because it's very entertaining. For me, the only thing that actually holds this film back is actually its runtime. At only an hour and 32 minutes, I actually found the film to be a little bit too short. I wish there was about 10 to 15 more minutes to actually explore more of the deeper issues and the deeper thematics of some of these characters, as well as just relationships. Certain things shift and change so fast, and that is something that very much I feel a lot of coming-of-age stories have, and a lot of films back in the 80s and 90s era did have problems with, of just rushing through resolution. But I did find that Bottoms was something that, even though it did teeter into that tone, I wish they would have touched on to a little bit of a different degree. But other than that, Bottoms, it's a must-see film. Because I think Bottoms is the quintessential, over-exaggerated, instant coming-of-age, soon-to-be a cult classic. Hilarious, wild, bloody. Yes, this film is very bloody and awesome. I love my time with Emma Seligman's vision, and I think Rachel and Ao are the dynamic duo of 2023. Definitely let me know down below what your guys' thoughts are. Are you guys excited for this movie? Are you not? Make sure to hit that like and subscribe before we get going. And of course, my grade for this film will be an A-. So much again, guys, for watching this. I do have a lot of content coming up soon. I'm in a new set. I'm still moving in. I'm still building things. So this is just a temporary set for right now. But I do have a Daryl Dixon review coming up. I have been watching One Piece Netflix review. That should be up either today as you're watching this or Saturday when I get through that. I'm really enjoying that show so far. And of course, the gaming channel, Critics Play Games, gonna start posting more stuff over there. We're moved in. I have so much ideas, so much things, and many updates to come. So thank you so much again for all the support. And of course, until next time, stay class.